My name is Richard Worsham, founder and designer here at Janus Motorcycles, and we're back for another update on our Gryffin 450 production. First off, a big thank you to everyone for your patience, and we hope that we'll answer some questions with this video, and welcome if you have any further questions about our production schedule moving forward, or perhaps if you have a bike on order, give us a call or send us an email. With the Gryffin, our goal is to create a modern dual sport or race enduro scrambler style motorcycle that's similar in nature to our Gryffin 250, but that really has more capability off-road. So that means correctly sized rims that can accommodate modern dual sport tires, so an 18-inch rim in the back with a 21-inch rim in the front, giving you a wide range of different kinds of, whether it's 20/80 or 50/50 or a really aggressive dirt bike style tire. You can find those different options easily and fit them to your bike. The other aspect of that is the suspension. And like I've said before, that's really where the majority of our work has gone, is trying to achieve something that will be able to play with other dual sport bikes. We are using a traditional twin shock swing arm rear suspension instead of a monoshock suspension. So that does limit us in some respects. It also gives us many advantages. And we're using a leading link front fork. But we really want to have something that has significantly more travel than, of course, our Halcyon 450 or our Gryffin, which is our Scrambler 250. So dialing in that suspension, we've gone through many iterations of our spring rates and shock absorber damping rates with our supplier Icon over the summer. That is one of the things that has taken up considerably more time than we had anticipated. At this point, we're in the tooling phase. So, and that has also taken us a little longer than we anticipated, but we are developing the fixtures that we will be using when we get into production. And over the last decade, we've gotten better and better at this. And we really are at a point now where we have a well-developed system for prototyping. Even our tooling, we have to prototype, and then we have to test, and then we have to run some parts through. Then we'll, if that works, then we'll move to production tooling. So let's talk a little bit about that process and how we do that. So what we're looking at right here is, this is actually prototype tooling for the Gryffin 450 subframe. So this would be the part that at the back of the frame supports the seat, the rear suspension mounts, exhaust, and cargo racks, etc. But you'll notice that this is first of all, it's very lightweight, and it's this mysterious black material. What makes this prototype tooling is that we've actually been able to 3D print this. So initially, when we're developing the first prototypes, we don't just slap tubes together. We'll use a rough fixture, 3D printed like this, to position the tubes and test out the prototype component that will come out of that, but also how we're going to be making the tooling, which really is almost more important to be able to have. If you don't have good tooling, you'll never make a good part. So this is an initial piece of tooling for that. And again, this is 3D printed. So these cradles will hold various pieces of tube. It's bolted together out of multiple parts. And this will position all the various components that go into this subassembly, which is the subframe of the Gryffin 450. Next up, what we're looking at right here, this is production tooling. So as I said, the fixture or the tooling for each part is really the most important part. If you have good tooling, it will make everything else easier. And that's one of the things we've really been focusing on. And this actually is going to help us bring out the Gryffin significantly faster than we brought out the Halcyon 450, which we had a different process. We were still learning a lot of this stuff. At that time, we were just opening up this fabrication shop. And so our process has improved significantly, and it will actually help us to bring out this Gryffin much, much faster than other models we have in the past. What you're seeing right here is, again, a steel fixture. So this is not 3D printed. These are laser cut components that are actually slotted. So the whole thing fits together. And then we we will just tack weld this thing together. So minimal, or stitch weld it. Minimal amount of heat distortion. You want this thing to be as true as possible. And then the various components fit into this. And actually what you're seeing here, this is actually this is a component that will be welded. This is the front dropout for the what we call the fork horizontal, or the front swing arm. So this is the dropout. This is where your axle will fit in. Your shock absorber will attach to this pin right here. And then there's a of course you have the front hoop that comes up on the Halcyon 450. It goes around like this, but because of ground clearance on the Gryffin 450, we kick that up and over the back. So the simplest way of thinking about this is it's a fixture that holds all the different pieces that need to go into the final assembly, and it just holds them securely for you while you weld it together. So the fabricator will put the bent tube in, he'll fit that in there, he'll bolt these two pieces in, and then he uses these oversitter clamps, locks it in. We'll have the swing arm pivot plates get bolted in here, and then he can weld that in. Typically, you want to be able to get as much welding as you can done in the fixture. There will be some welding that has to happen after this comes out, but the goal is to have it held securely when most of the welding is done, so that there isn't any distortion that happens once it gets out of the fixture. And we use various weld patterns and techniques to minimize any distortion. I should also say that one of the things that, you can just see the advances. I should show you some of our old tooling in another video, but this has places you can pick it up with. It's got grab handles, and it has no bolts or the need for any tools to put it together. So these things pop in and out. We do have one nut here that tightens this down where the axle will go, but minimal requirement for tools. So what that means is that when the welder is putting this together, he's not taking his gloves off, picking up different tools and putting them down. He's able to put it together quickly and weld it up in an efficient and fast way. So a lot of development has gone into these tooling. Again, this is the fork horizontal or front swing arm, and I'll show you one more piece. And this is a great example because it actually has the part that comes out of it already installed here. So we just looked at the front swing arm, or we call the fork horizontal. We're now looking at the rear swing arm, which is what most people think of when they think of a motorcycle swing arm. And you see here is the rear axle, and the front swing arm pivot will go right here. So again, this minimal hardware, the front axle and then the front swing arm do get put in place and tightened down. And there would be tooling bushings that go in here that simulate the bushings that actually go on your motorcycle. Then over center clamps lock this in place. The tubes are set in here, and then everything is welded up as much as you can. As you can see, as much welding as can be done with this in this configuration. Then these are picked up. We pull the axle out, and then we can lift out this part. And because it's been made in a well-designed piece of tooling, this will not be crooked, and it will assemble exactly the way we've intended it to. So I hope kind of seeing some of that tooling helps explain what we're working on right now. All of our chassis component tooling is either complete, or we'll have it back and be basically final assembling it. All the design work is complete, and we are anticipating being able to commence. Really, it comes down to how quickly we can get the tooling together, which comes down to how quickly we get the components back. All right, well, thank you so much again for your patience as we prepare to launch the production run of the brand new Gryffin 450. Production bikes will be rolling off the line very soon. We appreciate your patience and look forward to delivering your bike.